Hey everyone, and welcome back to Islandworks, where I continue my madness of building the fastest Porsche 964 that I can ever build in my garage. I'm Jonas, and I do this in my free time just because I think it's really fun and it's really inspiring seeing what I can come up with when I really put my mind to it. In one of the previous episodes called Concentric Twist, we were building this, which is the wire harness concept that I put my mind to in that episode, which then ended up with a lot of different connectors and pieces and cables around the car. This time it is power on, which means we're going to actually turn the car on, finishing up the last pieces of the harness, trying to get the things to work together, seeing if we figure it out. So we're going to start off sort of where we left off the last time. Not exactly, because I've been working away, really working away, getting things done when it comes to the harness and when it comes to the engineering of the harness. It's an extremely tedious job, and it feels sometimes like I have a little bit of water above my head with this, but nevertheless, I have my two main harnesses done, and it's time to tie the whole car together today. And that's what we're going to do. So we're going to tie the different components that we have built in throughout the series together and hopefully turn the switch on. So we have, for example, we have the center console here, where we have the VCU for the suspension. We have the ABS jaw sensor, and then we have the CAN bus little controller there. Up here we have our dash connector with the kill switch and the ABS strength. Of course the dash, which needs to be connected to the thing as well. We have, of course, the ECU that it needs to connect to, and over on the other side we have the PDM, which replaces all the fuses and all the relays and all that. And we have the battery now. In one of the previous episodes, I was really debating with myself whether the battery should go in the passenger footwell or if it should go up in the front, or where it should actually go. So in the end, I concluded that it needs to go behind the passenger seat. That's where I put it. That's where I've also put the PDM. I've made up the harness for the other side. Let's get that installed and we look a little bit how the harness has turned out. Something that I've paid a lot of extra attention on is how do I do the transition between this compartment and the frunk in a way that it's very serviceable and also looks very good. That's something very important to me. That means I need to have some way of connecting these two compartments. And what I've been looking into is if I should use this area up here, which is where the fan used to come in before, and I don't use that anymore. So my idea is to put something in this compartment that the cables can very neatly come up and actually transition through. Because these two brooms here, this is the power connector to a lot of the heavy consumers. This is a lot of the smaller consumers. This is coming from the PDM, and as you can see, it's not terminated yet. So if this one could come up in a neat way here, I could create a very functional piece that makes the car very serviceable, which is good, of course, if you need to fix something, but also make it look really cool. Back in the office with the computer, let's look at what I'm trying to achieve with this bulkhead connector box and see if we can visualize it in a different way. The design is more or less done, but I'm going to show you anyway how the thought process of getting there was. So this is the sort of the assembly of all of the different things I have in the car right now. What we see is, of course, here the little button panel, and if we scroll under this, we see this unit there, which is the bulkhead connector box, as I call it. We see some different inputs on this one. If we look from this side, it's a little bit sort of an awkward under
underneath angle here, but we see the different connectors here in the bottom. We see a cover plate in the top, and then if we go around and look from the other side, from the front side, so this is the front where we have the tank and we have the fuel tank and filters and so on. If we go in here, we can actually see that here we have the connectors going out on this side, going out towards the equipment that sits here. We can see we have the output towards the ABS, we have the dash, we have the fuel, we have the lights. Not completely done on this side, but I don't think that's really the point. Concept is here. Let's look a little bit closer at this actual unit. This is now the actual unit. So if we look at this guy, what it is, we see that we have the three big incoming things. One comes from the ECU, and then two of them actually comes from the PDM. And then we see outputs in the front. We have the USB charger for the camera, because you need to have a camera in a car like this. We have the programming input for the PDM as well as the ABS there. We have the panel to the little keypad. And then we have a programming output for the ECU and for the dash. If we split this one, let's split it like that. If we split it and look on the inside, we see that this is where all the magic is going to happen. We're going to pull cables in as an orderly fashion as we possibly can on the inside. And if I ever need to change anything, if I need to pull a new cable or maybe insert a new connector for whatever reason in the future, which I'm sure I'm going to have to do, then it will only affect this area here and possibly a new little sub harness. Yeah, so really good. The green piece here is going to be out of plastic, and the top piece here is going to be of a thin, just coated piece of aluminum, just like I did on the little keypad. It's going to weigh just a few 100 grams. It's going to be really, really neat. And these connectors, they're super lightweight as well. So yeah, this is the concept. Let's tailor this so that it fits to the car.
Process is to print a number of pieces and try to see if I can get the holes and all of that to really tally perfect with how the actual structure looks. Based on that, I can make a real transfer piece. And with all these iterations, you eventually get to something that starts illustrating a little bit better what the idea will look like in the end. This is one of these pieces, so color is brilliant, of course, as usual. I'm gonna assemble this one in there properly, and with this one assembled, we're gonna actually try to hook up one of the harnesses, and then we're gonna see what we think about the idea. This is the piece, right? It has the connectors in there, right? And I just used the little things I had there. Okay, so this is now the concept. There we go. So of course these ones are going to be terminated, so they look like that and they attach nicely to that one. I have one on this side that is already terminated, so you can see that the boot is on the thing. So it looks quite cool. And now that this one comes in there, it attaches like that. And that's the way it's supposed to look. In one of the previous episodes, I showed you that I had a left side harness, which is where all the signals run, the CAN bus, the communication between the different devices. It runs on the left side. Then on the right side, I have the power harness that goes through the battery to the PDM to all of the consumers, distributing the 12-volt system of the car. So that's this harness. I'm going to terminate the last two harness pieces there. If you look at this one, you'll see that it's one with a little bit bigger pins in. That's because it's higher current in those. And then there's one with a lot of pins that are slightly small. So this is big consumers like the ABS, yeah, mainly the ABS. And this one is smaller consumers like washer, like, I don't know, all the other stuff, lights. So these ones are going to come up in this manner. So I know where they're going to terminate. Now it's important that I get the angle of these right. So I'm going to start with the one with the bigger connectors. And I'm going to make sure
I get this angle correct. Because if I don't get this angle correct, then when I'm going to try to put it on here, it's going to be in the wrong angle, and I'm not going to be able to insert the connector. So it's going to be here. It's going to be there. Is my drawing. I have it up on the wall. And I can see that this is the harness or the connector that we're on. And I can see that cable number 1 is 162. So that's the first one I'm going to identify and the first one I'm going to insert. Okay, so this is 162. I'm going to align it so that this end of this one is by the end here. I'm measuring down so that it's towards the end of the connector. Taking it off and then striping it. Then we get to this guy. We're going to adjust this guy to AVG 18 because this is the high power cable, so they're AVG 18. So we take that one in there. We take that one in there. Now we have a really solid connection there. Good. I put it in through the connector. And there's a tool you can use to do this. But these cables are so big, AVG 18, that they're so stiff in themselves that I don't really need that. And then you keep doing this for a while. As you can see, it's not very difficult. It doesn't take a lot of time. Now that all of the other stuff that really takes a lot of time is done. And the stuff that really takes a lot of time is, of course, building the harness. And what takes even more time than that is designing the harness. And in the end, we came to this. So 2 nicely contacted pieces that we're gonna do some other stuff with now. The first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna attach them to where they're supposed to be, which is just here, here and there. Good. They do seem to fit, both of them, and this is indeed how they're going to sit. So it seems like we got the angle pretty good. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take some of this kept-on tape. I'm going to tape this for service purpose. So if I need to go in and repair this at some point in the future, then this is not going to be all glued and stuff like that. Because I'm going to put a boot on this, and once I put a boot on this, that boot is going to sit there with some pretty nasty epoxy resin. Okay, like that. And the reason why you also put these little loops there, it's not only for service purpose, it's also so that if you in the future need to like cut the wire, then you have a little bit of extra wire here. Okay. Now we get to another pretty interesting step, and that is to shrink the boot down on this. So I put the boots on it. These need to get as accurate of an angle as I can. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put just a little bit of glue on this little hat here, because this is the side I'm going to start. The kind of glue I'm using, it's a resin. It's called potting compound. So I'm just going to put a little bit of this on this color here, so that when the boot comes on, it actually sticks there. So it becomes very liquidy. So there is some tricks to this, and that is to really heat a lot on the lip of it. Get that one to grab first, and once that one grabs, then you can work on the shape. So we have got it to grab on this side. Now we're just going to form the shape of it. And before I do that, I'm going to add some potting compound in this end. Actually, I think we got that one down there pretty good. Okay. I think this is actually pretty good. Yeah. Let's put it back in the car. Okay, so we got the thing installed. An amazing piece of work trying to just get this thing together. Let's see if I can film and attach this all at the same time. Oh, there we go. First one. Let's see, second one. Pretty good, huh? Third one. Oh, that looks pretty cool, doesn't it? So let's entertain ourselves and have a look at how this turned out. So it goes down here, have a little branch off point here that continues on back to where we have the battery and where we have the PDM. As you can see, the PDM, I haven't put the boots on there yet. I want to see that it works first. I did connect the PDM to the battery, so it should sort of run soon. The battery is hooked up, the CAN bus to the battery, as well as the kill switch to the battery. There's an interconnector here. So this interconnector here actually connects the right side of the car to the left side of the car, where the other harness is running, right? And then we branch off and we go up to the center console here, right? Then I wanted to show you something that I did with the branch that goes up here. So I have one branch that goes all the way up here. And look at this. So this branch comes up to the very back here. I have two connectors. This one goes actually to the right wheel. And it sits, I made a little insert there that has like a big thread on it. And this insert then goes to this connector. So this connector then ties down like that. So that will go to the right wheel. And then this one over here will go then to the left wheel. Cool, huh? And then it will continue back to the engine. And there's one little small harness piece missing, which will go from the engine down to the ECU, connecting to those two contacts there. And the strange thing with all this is that you can't see how much work goes into just fiddling around with these cables. You really can't, because in the end it's just connectors, and it looks like something you just bought in the store, these cables, but it's really just fantastic amount of work. That's why it's taking so long to get the episodes out. But this, where I am right now, it is actually time to maybe flip the switch. Okay, so here goes test number one. I have the battery connected. I put a multimeter just measuring on the battery. Then I did a very tempered installation of the user dash there. It looks like this. The CAN bus is connected. The kill switch is connected. I know this looks terrible. But nevertheless, we have 0 volts right now. And if I go over here, oops, and I turn the car on, nothing happens, right? Because nothing is really the way it's supposed to be. Now the battery is actually on. And if I flick the kill switch, boom, it should go off, and it did, right? So this is because this Lightbox battery has an FIA approved kill switch built into it. Then I will have one switch for over here, and then I will have one external switch just over there.
Cool, huh?
Of course, that is one exciting moment, seeing the multimeter go to 12 volt. Sounds ridiculous, I know, but to me it was pretty exciting. So moving on to the next piece, we are getting on to the necessity of actually communicating with the car. Because I can flip the switch and the power goes on, but nothing happens, right? And it's because I need to program the PDM so that when I push this button, this happens. And when you turn the ignition key on, this happens, and so on. All this good stuff. I have this, which consists, of course, of this, plus, if you remember in the 3D model, a little plate on top of it. This follows very much the production methodology I use for the little keypad dash I had there in the front, where the back cover of it is plastic, and the front cover is a very nice, very thin little aluminum plate that I got help from a Norwegian company called Myhre Skilt, or Skilt. I'll put the contact details in the end there in the description. This version here is just a 3D printed one, and I had to do it in 2 pieces because my printer is too small. What this one has, which is so important right now, is this piece here. This is the one that is actually the connection or the communication point to the PDM. So let me just hook this up and I'll show you. And we can see some goodies here. We have a camera port. This is to charge a camera because, yeah, we need this nowadays. Next one here is PDM. So this is where I'm going to put my CAN to USB module to program the PDM. I'm also going to use this port to program the ABS, since I have one of these Bosch race ABSs. This is what it is when we look on the back side. Since this is just for test, I have just taken the CAN bus wires together. So you see they come from the connector, and then they just go together in these little splice whatever things. And I've just pulled a few of them out. In the end, this is going to be sort of as nicely wired as it can here in the back. You're never going to see it because it's going to be behind this one. And whenever I need to change something, I just change it here on the inside. Brilliant, huh?
So we got this thing in there with the fake little plastic plate. So now actually we've connected even the dash. I took the opportunity to connect the dash as well. But now when I turn it on here, actually nothing happens. Although everything is connected, and it's because the PDM doesn't know what to do. Right, power comes on, but now what? So we take this little programming adapter and I try to stick it in over here. Come on. And now I get a USB cable. So just like in the previous episode, I think it's called Wireless Porsche, where I programmed this, I'm just going to reprogram it now so that it works, and then it should go on. So here we go. I have my computer here, and I have it connected there into the dash. I have connected the rest here so that it should be funky and ready to go. What now happens if I do this? Boom. Dum 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 dum. Look, it's coming alive. And it is live. Look at that. Wow. It really is live. And what happens if I click here? It actually starts running. Wow. And it's blinking over there as well. So CAN bus network is working, dash is working. I'm making some progress. And we're going to do the same thing from this side. So I'm going to turn the guy on. Okay. So it will come on just in the same manner as it did from the other side. What I want to try now is if we can get this guy, the ECU, to actually communicate with the dash. And we do that by turning the ECU on, which is this one. Okay. What we should be able to see in that case is that if I push the accelerator pedal down here, you see there in the top right, the throttle is actually working. Right, so the ECU is working.
I also want to test the rotary controller. So if I do press change page on the rotary controller, it will work like that. If I do turn this one is connected to the traction control to the ECU right now. So I will actually, it may be difficult to see in the camera, but I can see that this one here changes color. So, seems like it's all connected. I have not managed to get the CAN bus from the battery, so I can see the state of charge on the battery and the state on the kill switch and all those things, faults, alarms, whatnot. I simply can't get the CAN bus to work, but yeah, I'll figure that out.
Of course, this is super exciting. It really is, and not to hide or diminish the huge amount of work it is with the wiring, the engineering, the troubleshooting, getting the components actually to communicate with each other again, figuring out why they're not. Is it wiring, which it has been a lot of the times? Is it address allocation? What is it? And that's why this has been taking such a long time. However, this is a major hurdle that I've passed now with getting this done. And I foresee that maybe some other things is going to be a little bit downhill from now with completing this. Anyway, thank you for watching. If you like what I'm doing, like the episode, subscribe to my channel, write me a comment, do whatever you like, and I will see you for the next episode.